Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Juan Rodas. Today we have new goalkeeper for Indy 11 Evan Newton. Evan, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. We know you have a game today against Butler, correct? Later on today?
Yes, correct, correct.
Okay. Well, to start off, Evan, I want you to, to talk to us about you being drafted by the Houston Dynamo and signing your first professional contract. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, it was nice, man. I mean, after college, obviously your dream as a kid is to become a professional, and I was fortunate you know, to get drafted, and I definitely had some help, and a couple coaches that went to bat for me, and luckily, we're able to chat with some people at the convention because I trained with DC United this summer leading into my senior season at Old Dominion. So the goalkeeper coach there, I had a good senior season, and then he chatted to the goalkeeper coach at Houston, and they just had such a good relationship, so much trust between them that Houston actually drafted me kind of based not even on really seeing me play much, but just off of his word, which was a guy named Mark Simpson. So yeah, and I went in and had a really good preseason, luckily, and they signed me pretty quickly. So I was very fortunate, and that's kind of, as a kid, that's your dream, and luckily I was able to make it happen, and still being able to do that, going into year 9, which is a blessing. So that's where it started.
Well, definitely. And then eventually you get loaned to Tampa Bay. And in 2012, the Quakes signed you. The Earthquakes, who won the Supporter Shield that year. Talk to us, being a part of that historic team, because after 2012, as you and I know, the Quakes haven't done such a great season. But yeah, talk to us about winning the Supporter Shield.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're part of a successful team, you definitely, you don't take it for granted. It's hard in this business to be successful year in and year out, and the Houston team I was on was pretty successful. We actually went to the MLS Cup final against LA that year, and so once I came back from my loan stint, I was with the team the rest of the season, got to kind of experience that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just being with the team and everything. But then moving to San Jose, and John Bush was there, and still has been my mentor since. But I just kind of went in there, and we were fortunate to have a really good season, and John and I created a good relationship, and he's been my mentor ever since. And yeah, man, I just told myself going in there, I knew John Bush was there. Um, and he at the time I think was like his 16th year or so
Yeah.
professionally. So I went in there and said, look, man, I'm just gonna do everything this guy does because obviously he's doing something right. So
Yeah.
I just tried to go in there and just soak up as much as I could from him and learn how to really be a pro, and what it takes to be a top level pro, and a lot of those things that I learned from him and continue to learn from him have helped kind of take my career to where it's gone so far.
For sure. And still talking about the Earthquakes, is there any like memory in particular that you still keep to heart, or like even in mind right now?
Yeah, it was an interesting time for me. It was a little bit difficult time. I had to grow a lot. I had a lot of mental challenges that I think, helped me even now. Every time, anytime you can grow, and even though it might be tough, if you can get through it, and you take the positive from it, you grow. Hopefully you don't let it beat you, and then obviously you digress. But yeah, I remember a couple of the Classicos.
Yeah.
I think one in particular when we came back. I forget which year it was, but when we scored like a couple, like 2 or 3, like in the last like 10 minutes of the game, and we ended up beating LA like 4-3 or something,
I think was that at Stanford.
or 3-2, yeah, at Stanford, and like the place just absolutely erupted. I don't know if I've heard volume like that ever. It was nuts when we scored the go ahead goal in
Yeah.
extra time. I think it was Alan Gordon scored the header.
Mm-hmm.
That was the time that I definitely, that was crazy. But yeah, man, I think a lot of it, my memories there were some tough ones, but a lot of my memories was just growing and really learning, early days being a pro and learning from a guy like John Bush and, a good goalkeeper coach and Jason Batty, who I still talk to every now and again. So that was like still early days, early days and growing and kind of paying the dues.
And if I'm not wrong, Evan, I'm pretty sure you played against Swansea City in that friendly. Talk to us about playing against the EPL team.
Yeah, that was really cool. And the year before, I got to play against Bolton when I was on loan in Tampa. Bolton came to Tampa. We played them. Got to play in the second half against them. Had a very good game. And that was a fun experience. We ended up actually beating Bolton 1-0, which was crazy. So, and then they got relegated that season. So maybe that's why. But yeah, man. And then Swansea was awesome, and that was kind of my first minutes, like real minutes that meant anything. And in a Quakes jersey, and then started, towards the end of my first year there, started kind of dressing and winning that backup position and playing in a lot of the reserve games towards the end. And unfortunately, just things didn't, moving forward. I think there was a lot of politics involved with that, but we won't get into all that. But it just, the second season kind of went back to just sitting on as a 3. But again, you try to take the positives and you every day try to work and get better because. The following year I left and I had opportunity obviously with Arizona to start being a full-time professional starter and if I didn't grow in that tough year where maybe I didn't think things were fair or just didn't work out for me, I wouldn't have been ready for that.
For sure. And still talking about the Earthquakes, was there any particular teammate that was possibly crazy? Because there were a lot of crazy teammates who I'm pretty sure maybe Muma, maybe Lenhart, or even maybe Marvin Chavez. Is there anybody in particular?
No, I mean we had a pretty interesting group of people. I mean it was a lot of characters, but I mean those 3 that you mentioned were definitely 3 characters, all great guys.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of personalities, in that locker room. Bushy, even like some of the rookies and. Garza had a little, was a good personality, and Muma, Chavez. You had Bushy's his own breed, and then you had Lenny Gordo, you had Cronin, and man, we had Jason Hernandez, who was a funny guy, and Brad Ring. We had a good group, man, and everybody had some personality, so. That was a fun time and definitely a good team, and it was fun to be a part of that. Kari Stevenson, good friend of mine. Yeah, so a lot of good guys on that team, and it was fun.
For sure. And then after the Quakes, talk to us about what teams you have played for.
Yeah, so I left the Quakes. Actually, Bushy kind of gave me some good advice, and he's like, "You need to leave, man. You need to go play, even if it's dropping down. You gotta go develop and show what you can do, and not just kind of sit around on the bench." And it was a bit of an ego hit, but I took his advice, and it was the best thing I think I ever did. I left and went and played at Phoenix. At the time, it was Arizona United, and. Yeah, and had a pretty good year. I played 31 games, and we had a decent little run in the Open Cup, and it was a good place for me to be for my first kind of really year starting consistently day in and day out, and not too much pressure. I was able to kind of grow into that and learn some things without a lot of pressure, and it was a good club and a good goalkeeper coach and Corey Robertson, who I still talk to frequently as well, and yeah. So then from there, I actually tried to go to Germany in the winter.
Oh, wow.
As someone brought me to Germany, I went for like a month and a half, and that was a great experience. I traveled around, got a couple, trained with a couple clubs, and actually had a trial at Schalke's second team, which was really cool.
Wow. How did that go?
It was awesome, man. I did really well. It didn't work out. I didn't know enough German from what we heard from the agent that helped us get in. They said they liked me as a footballer, but I didn't. He was a kind of he wasn't his English wasn't very good, the coach. So a lot of it depends kind of on what the coach can go with. A lot of the players know English, but as a goalkeeper, they want you to be able to communicate, which I get. They said, look, we were really close. We really liked him as a footballer. I had a few good days of training with them, and but the language barrier was a bit too much, and but that's okay. It was actually a really good experience for me. I had a great time, and it really like helped my confidence because I knew I could play overseas, with a big club like that. And being in there with their second team, and they had a lot of like their first team guys training with us, the younger guys, and to be able to know I could compete with them, and that they thought I was a good player, kind of helped me a lot. It was a good experience. So I came back, signed with Oklahoma, played for Jimmy Nielsen first season, and had a good year. And our team did well. We went to the Western Conference Finals again. Played, I think, all but one game. We had another good run in the Open Cup, and I think I was finalist for goalkeeper of the year that year. And then I decided to go to Sacramento. I had an opportunity to go back into the MLS, and then a few other clubs in the USL and NASL at the time. But I decided to go to Sacramento because at the time, I still think I didn't want to go back and be in MLS and sit on the bench. I felt like I still needed to play and keep growing and keep my name out there. And Sacramento was really, at the time, like everyone thought they were going to get a bid like in the next year or two to the MLS. So I said, why not go there, keep playing, and if I can do well, then hopefully I'm in. So
for sure.
That didn't work out while I was in Sacramento, but Sacramento was an amazing experience for me. Love the city. Still love it. My heart will always have a piece of it in Sacramento, and have some great friendships that I'll cherish, for the rest of my life from there. And it was a good place. I grew and learned a lot of things. Had a great goalkeeper coach there that I'm still very close with, Simon Shepard, and yeah, man. But the MLS didn't work out there, so luckily had opportunity after the 2 years in Sacramento to come to Cincinnati, and again decided to go there with the bid being really close, and obviously while I was there, they did end up getting the bid to MLS. So yeah, and was starting and had a very good season, and ended up winning the Golden Glove last year, which was a blessing, and a big credit to the team as well. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. We had a good group of guys, a great team, but just it didn't work out for me for whatever reasons. I thought I had I'm very happy with what I did. All I can control is me and what I did, and I think from my standpoint, I could, when I look back on my performances and what I can control, like I'm very happy with that. I can't really control the business side or the political side of anything, and that's what I think can be frustrating in this business. You got to have a good opportunity. You have to have an opportunity where someone believes in you or wants to bring you in, or you have a little luck, or coaches that relationships. Like there's so many things that go into it, but I'm very happy with what I put out there. I controlled what I can control, and it led me to being in Indy, which I'm very happy with. So far, it's been awesome. Great area, awesome place to live. Where we're living is really cool, and Carmel, Indiana, and fan base is good here, and coaching staff's been great, and the team we're building here is really, really strong. So just very happy to be here and continue to play, and you got to play, man. It's not, the MLS is great if you can find a good position to where you're actually getting a chance to play, but I was having this conversation with another guy on our team actually a couple of days ago that has been in the league as well, and sometimes it's not fun. It's tough.
It's frustrating.
If you're not in a good position, you're almost just getting paid to practice. And nowadays, with the level of the USL Championship and the level is strong, and it's a great league now, and you can make at certain clubs they're paying well, you can make MLS money, and you can live comfortably and actually play and showcase and enjoy the game. And if you're not playing, you're not in anybody's eyesight, and your market value decreases. So you got to find that balance between your ego and being in the league, and also playing and staying relevant and enjoying football. So obviously I would love to go MLS with Cincinnati, or there's a couple other options we were talking with that didn't work out this offseason. But at the same time, you don't want to just go. Like you want to make sure that's the right opportunity for you in a good situation. And for me, the best situation was to come here from all around, and I'm very excited to be here in Indy.
For sure. And now even transitioning to last year, about talking about Cincinnati, where you guys, from what you told me, you guys did win the league, but unfortunately didn't win the whole championship. But talk to us about, Evan, what did you learn specifically by playing for Cincinnati, and probably if you could mention us the best game that you played with them.
Yeah, man, I learned a lot, man. It was an interesting time. I mean, we had like I said, we built a really good team, and the fan base there is incredible, and it's a great soccer city. I think a lot of what I learned last year was just more mental, growth. To be starting for, the whole first 3/4 of the season and having a really good season, and then, to kind of just get pulled out. I had a little injury, and then the other guy got a game or two, and then I just kind of I played 3 more games out of the last 12 games after. So it was tough to go through that because it's almost like something's wrong here, something's off, and that's the stuff I can't control.
Yeah.
For me, all I can control is when I get a chance to play, then I go out and put good performances on. So I think a lot of growth I had was in that last 12 games of the season. I only got 3 games, and I was upset, and I wasn't happy, and didn't understand it. And it was almost like the whole rest of the season was just forgotten about. But when I did get those 3 games, I made them count, and I thought I had 3 really good performances, and that's what I was happy about myself, was not letting that situation beat me.
Yeah.
And still going out and controlling what I can control. So I think that's a big thing I learned, and a big thing I was proud of myself for. And I think I think the first 2 games of the season are 2 games that stick out for me. I mean, there's a few other games. The home finale against Indy last year, it was a fun one. But the first 2 games of the season, we had a lot of pressure on us. I mean, all year, but especially at the beginning. And and MLS wasn't announced yet, so that even threw more pressure on. And I had 2 really good performances to start the year, help us get 2 wins to start the year. And I think those are 2 games that really stick out for me. It was away to Charleston, and away to Indy, actually. And to be able to go out and help the team get 3 points in the first 2 games and be a big part of that, I think was special for me. And I was proud of myself for being able to, putting in that really pressure-like situations, and to be able to perform was something I was, again, proud of myself for. So as much as there are some disappointing things from the season, there's a lot of pluses and a lot of things to take away moving forward in my career. And again, like I said earlier, if you can take the positives even in some negative situations and grow from them, that's what matters. Don't let those situations take you down.
Most definitely, I completely agree. And still talking about Cincinnati, Evan, do you think the reason probably why you didn't stay for Cincinnati this year, you know, the inaugural season for the MLS, possibly because of politics and something that wasn't in your hands?
Yeah, I mean, that you would have to ask the organization, the club, but I would probably say a lot of it has to do with stuff that I can't really control. I mean, um, I don't know exactly why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but again, you move on, and you know, very happy with the deal I got here and my situation at Indy, and I'm super excited for, you know, the upcoming season and however long I'm here for. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened with all that. But like I said, I felt like I was very happy with my performances and my season I had from a playing standpoint, and that's all I can control really.
For sure.
So I think, you know, 99 out of 100 times, if you know, you win the Golden Glove and you're having a season like that, you know, you're probably getting rewarded. But unfortunately, this time I was rewarded, but in a different way. Maybe not in, you know, staying with the team to move up, but I'm very happy with what happened here in Indy and to be here.
Most definitely. And obviously, you're a goalkeeper. Is there any striker in particular that you think has probably been like the hardest striker that you've came across throughout your whole career? Possibly Wando.
No, Wando obviously is a fantastic player and he's had a great career. And you know, it was definitely helps you improve when you're going against him every day at training and his finishing and stuff like that. But I mean, there's been many good players. It's hard to kind of, you know, go through the list and name. There's so many good players, you know, between the MLS and the USL. So there's plenty of very good strikers that I've been fortunate to play against.
Adi?
And play with. Yeah, Adi. You know, Adi's a big boy, and yeah. So everyone kind of presents their own challenges. You know, from a goalkeeping standpoint, everyone has different attributes, and that's kind of the fun part and challenging part is to, you know, learning different guys' attributes and how do I beat them, you know, and how do I prevent them from scoring. So, and that's how you grow. So it's been fun, and I've been very fortunate to play against some really good players.
And now transitioning to this year, I think January 8th is when you left Cincinnati. You signed with Indy 11. What are your expectations for this upcoming season?
Yeah, man, I expect us to have a strong season. They're really spending the money and the resources to build a really strong team and to really give us the things we need, you know, off the field here and to succeed. So I'm really excited for it, and it seems like Indianapolis is excited, and hopefully we can start well and create some even more buzz around the city. But yeah, man, I think we're gonna have the ability to have a really strong season if we can put it all together with the talent we have coming. And they've already announced, you know, a lot of the players, but there's still a few very good players that haven't been announced yet that are here and still coming. So we should be very strong and a heavy contender. So hopefully we can get the job done this year.
Most definitely, and I wish you guys the best of luck as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and talk to us about, you know, when you were a little kid. Were you always a goalkeeper? And if not, what position did you play? And are you possibly one of the first in your family to play soccer?
So I played some center midfield growing up. I played half on the field, half in goal until about 12 years old when I started ODP. And then I, you know, strictly played in goal once ODP started. But yeah, I used to play in center midfield, and I love that. I didn't have like the engine to run all day, but I think it really helped me, you know, with seeing the game from different perspectives and also like, you know, developing my feet. And I've always loved playing in the field for fun, even as throughout my years when I was only a goalkeeper. You know, whenever we'd play pickup or I'd play, you know, little stuff with friends, I always played on the field. So, but yeah, and then my little brother played soccer, played in college. He was an attacking midfielder. My dad played like intramurals in college, but, you know, and then my cousin was a very good soccer player, state ODP player.
Wow.
He's a bit older than me, so he was good growing up. And actually his sister was a decent soccer player as well. Mm-hmm. So I guess soccer was, I wouldn't say like deep in my family, but you know, it was I wasn't the first one to play it. But I've been fortunate to make it my career, and God willing, many more years continue that career.
For sure. And in your opinion, Evan, who do you think is probably the best goalkeeper right now as we speak?
In the world?
In the world, yeah.
Man. I don't know, man. To be fair, I mean, I guess give me your maybe your top four, and I'll give you who I think of those four. It's hard to kind of narrow one down, because there's a lot of good goalkeepers out there nowadays, and the game's changing so much. So the opinions can change. I think it's becoming the modern goalkeeper is kind of changing from that 6'4", 6'5", just shot stopping guy to more so a 6'1" to 6'3" guy that's good with his feet, can play out the back, and
do everything,
and can also make saves. So there's a lot more. The keeper is being asked to do a lot more nowadays, and it's changing quite a bit. But at the end of the day, it's keeping the ball in the net is first priority. But now goalkeepers are having to turn into the first line of attack, and literally like playing out the back and being able to play with their feet and provide options for the players as well. So, there's some, obviously Ederson at Man City. Is very good with his feet, and that whole system is pretty phenomenal. But I don't know if I can really put him up in the top in terms of goalkeeping. I think he's a good goalkeeper, but in terms, Barcelona, Ter Stegen's a very good goalkeeper, plays out the back well.
What do you say, maybe Keylor Navas or Alisson Becker from Liverpool and Real Madrid?
Yeah, both. I mean, there's so many. It's hard to narrow them down. I mean, De Gea is still a guy that's very hard to put your money against. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The other thing you want to look at too, other than just playing out the back and making saves, is like, when do they make saves? I think being a guy that can win your team points, I think is a big way to look at goalkeeping. And maybe for people out there that don't know a lot about goalkeeping, start watching when goalkeepers are making big saves. Is it when their team's up by like a couple goals, or when they're down by a couple goals and it doesn't really matter, or are they making saves at crucial times? And I think that's a big way to judge goalkeepers and the top level guys, is like, are these guys that are winning my team points by either conserving a draw for us to get us a point on the road or something, or making a big save to keep us ahead, or even making a save to keep it only one down, and then the team goes and scores late and ties it, or something like this. Are they making crucial saves in crucial minutes? And there's some very high level guys doing that over in Europe now, and even in the States, there's some very good goalkeepers.
Zach Steffen.
Yeah, he's doing well, and I wish him the best, moving forward into Man City, and
it's crazy.
But yeah, it's an interesting position. It's very interesting. It's a very trusting position. The coach has to, if you can find a coach that trusts you, that goes a long way too, and you can kind of really solidify yourself. Because I think that's a big thing is with goalkeeping is finding a guy you can really trust and rely on. He might not always be like the best, quote unquote, or everybody's favorite, but if you can trust them to win you points, then you're going to stick with them.
Most definitely. And obviously, Craig Berhalter is now the new coach for the U.S. national team. Mm-hmm. Do you have the desire to play for the U.S.?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's obviously would be a dream. And you never say never, right? I mean, who knows? This game, this profession can change in an instant, good or bad. Like you see with different moves and just being in the right place at the right time. So I would love to one day play for my country, and I did it at the youth level. I was very fortunate to be able to do that, and it was such an honor. And who knows down the road, I would maybe one day if I can continue to do well, and that'd be awesome to wear the colors one day.
Hell yeah, heck yeah, most definitely too. You talked to us about playing, MLS. You had a stint with Schalke 04. Is there any league in particular that you would like to play in?
I think it'd be. Obviously very happy where I'm at right now. And not implying anything, but I think a real dream would be like the Bundesliga would be awesome. I just loved it over in Germany. I thought it was a really cool. The country was just awesome. It would be I think for me an awesome place to live, and obviously a great top probably 3 league in the world. So I think it'd be awesome to play in Germany and just all around from a football standpoint, a living standpoint. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be really fun.
For sure. And before you were talking to us about how John Bush is somewhat like your mentor for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, to me, he's one, I think, a legend for the Quakes from how long he was there and the performances that he did. Talk to us about, the relationship that you have with John Bush. And I saw on your Instagram that he was training you for this upcoming season.
Yeah. Yeah, John actually still lives here in Indianapolis and lives down the street from me, actually. So he's been awesome. He's always available. We talk every few weeks or at least every couple months throughout the last, since I left, so 5-6 years. So anytime I've needed him or needed questions or anything, he's always been there for me and really been a good mentor for me. And then when I was signing here, I knew he was still living here, so we got together and trained for a couple of weeks before the preseason started. So yeah, John's great, man. He's a legend, not just for the Quakes, but I mean he's top 3
MLS.
MLS probably all time with minutes and games played and saves and like almost every category. So he had a fantastic career, and I'm very fortunate to have him as a mentor and someone that believes in me and is in my corner and wants to help any way he can. So that's a very, very, very fortunate for me, and he's been awesome.
For sure. And obviously throughout your career, Evan, is there any toughest game in particular that you can name? Any team, it can be any team that you've played for.
Oh man, there's been some fun games, man. I don't know, tough. There's been a lot of tough ones too. I mean, I think once you get into the playoff situations and games where you need points to either keep certain spots on the table or whatnot. Once it starts coming into the last couple months of the season, you get some pressure games, and those can be tough ones, and those are obviously the fun ones too. Whenever there's a lot on the line, so it would be hard to pick out, just on a whim, like pick out like toughest games because there's been a lot, but there's been a lot of fun ones, particularly like I said, once you get in. I guess coming off the top of my head, like while I'm talking, it's when I was in OKC in our conference semifinal against Colorado Springs. It was kind of back and forth, couple goals, lead changes, and then we ended up going to penalties and fortunate to win in penalties, and that was kind of a back and forth game all game, and in front of a really good crowd, and we were able to win it at home in penalties, and it was really fun. Probably one of the top moments of my career. So it was a very tough game, but also like a really fun game at the same time with the outcome. And
Well, okay. And is there any coach that you can name that you could say probably you still keep in touch with today, or possibly has been the best coach for you?
I really got to give it to like my goalkeeper coaches. Obviously, as a goalkeeper, you're with your goalkeeper coach probably more than your actual coach, and they're such a big part of your everyday. So I've been fortunate You know, Tim Hanley at Houston is a guy that's been around the league for a long time, and then Jason Batty was great in San Jose, and still keep in touch with him. Corey Robertson at Arizona has been awesome, and we still talk very regularly. And then at Oklahoma, Jimmy Nielsen as your coach, which I learned a lot of little things, and even a lot of mental stuff from him too, and just presence things, and and then going to Sacramento, having Simon, who's still a great friend of mine and a great goalkeeper coach, and last year with Jack Stern at Cincinnati, who is a great trainer and goalkeeper coach as well. So I've been very fortunate to have, and then obviously John Bush as a mentor and sort of. So I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good guys that I've worked with and been able to learn from and grow from. So that's definitely helped me a lot.
And now to finalize the interview, Evan, what advice would you give to little kids who aspire to be professional soccer players like yourself?
I think the simplest advice I can give is just, to work hard. I mean, it sounds really cliche, but you got to work and you got to sacrifice. And if it's something that you really want and you really say you want, then the sacrifice shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's easy to kind of say you want something, but your actions and how you go about your everyday is what really shows it. So just work hard and enjoy the ride and enjoy the journey and try to just grow every day. And you'll be surprised how far you can go, because when I was young, I didn't, I always dreamed of it and I wanted it and I worked really hard to get there and sacrificed a lot. But I wasn't just it wasn't like I was just some kid in Virginia Beach that was just way better than everybody. Like I had I had a lot of, I was a good player, but I had to put a lot of work in, and I grinded and you sacrificed a lot, and I was fortunate to be able to make it my career and still doing it. So just work hard and enjoy the journey.
For sure. Thank you for the advice. And also I want to say thank you, for accepting our invitation. Best of luck tonight against Butler, and obviously I wish you guys the best of luck this season as well. Thank you so much, Evan. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for looking at my video. If y'all liked it, please like and subscribe. I will be releasing more content soon. But like I said, if you guys could speak your word about me to your friends, colleagues, parents, cousins, that would be grateful. Thank you so much. See you next time.